Like it or not, experts agree that there's a recession looming on the horizon, and the sales professionals that know how to tweak their strategy accordingly are the ones that are not only going to survive, they're the ones that are going to thrive over the next few years. And so if you want to learn how to crush it in the upcoming recession, then this video is for you. Hi, my name is Will and I make selling simple. Now, today we're going to talk about the concepts covered in the sales book, The Challenger Sale by Matthew Dixon and Brent Adamson of the business advisory firm CEB. We're going to cover a number of things. First, we're going to cover the last recession, what it meant for sales reps and how a select few of them were able to survive and thrive in that economic downturn. Then we're going to dive into the specifics of what the researchers found about these survivors, namely how they were able to sell during a recession using two techniques. The 6-step pushback method, which is outlined in the book, which is warming the prospect up, reframing, rational, drowning, emotional impact, a new way, and your solution. And then technique number 2 that we're going to take a look at is taking control. Now, this book is a game changer. You may have read it, you may have not read it. Who knows? This video is going to cover the gap for you. But I want to start the video by saying the recession does not have to be doom and gloom for sales reps like you and for sales training providers like me. And let's take a look why. So in the last recession of 2008 and 2009, if you were working in the industry at the time, you probably remember how hard it was for sales professionals trying to drag just kicking and screaming budget out of their potential customers. You're going to have clients jumping ship, prospects who are just completely unresponsive, and companies in your pipeline that you thought were a sure bet are now got a death grip on their budgets, and you're not going to see any of it for the foreseeable future. And if you were selling during this time, you would know that the old tried and true strategies just didn't bring the same results anymore. Yet, some sales reps were still able to succeed despite all of this. So post the last recession, Dixon and Adamson's advisory firm, CEB, surveyed thousands and thousands of sales reps from across the world and their experiences during this period. And they found that the sales reps who succeeded had one thing in common. They pushed their customers to think and act differently. Now, building relationships in B2B sales still matters, but what was more impactful than a relationship was a rep's ability to challenge the customer, push back on them and their ancient decision-making processes, and then take control of the sales conversation. And so if you want to get in on success in this recession that is massively overdue, Corona, the stock market, everything is leading towards a recession that's coming in the next 6 to 18 months, this is what you've got to do. So it all starts with the 6-step pushback method. And this works because within a recession, times are tight for individuals, for businesses, for mega corporations. I've just read an article today that Apple is reducing headcount on some of the most important projects that are coming out in the next few years. This quarter, Apple made $25 billion in profit. If they are pulling back on headcount and expenses on important product launches coming over the next year or two, then everyone else, of course, everyone else is going to be tight, battening down the hatches, and budgets are going to become more scarce as well. And during this time of economic contraction, buyers are going to want to solve their problems in new ways. For you, that means that you've got to push a little bit harder than perhaps what you've had to have done in good times when you know that you can truly help a prospect in a way to solve a business problem that they're not currently using right now. Remember that you've got a unique perspective on your customer's business and their ability to communicate and pull a deal together internally. You're external to all of the that's hitting the fan with inside these organizations. So it's up to you to push back when a prospect says that they've got no budget, there's nothing they can do, and teach your prospects about the issue they're facing, the return on investment from working with you, and to not be an idiot about all of this, right? I'm not saying say, do anything that is inappropriate, but you do have to be assertive when you know that you can really help someone. Because remember this, it's not every time that the solution that you have for your prospect's problem is exactly what they're searching for, but with a little bit of pushback on them, with a little bit of education, with a little bit of hand-holding, they might realize it's actually the solution they need, even if it wasn't the solution that they were searching for. Okay, so let's get practical here. How do you actually push back and teach? Well, there's a simple 6-step process for this. First off, we've got the warm-up. This is where you're going to present your assumptions of the key issues that your customer is facing. You can use past clients and other prospects that you've been working with as inspiration here. Let your prospects know what you've seen in similar companies and then wait for the reaction. The next step is reframing. So this is where you're going to offer a unique, and it has to be a unique insight about about the problem that the prospect has and how it connects to a bigger, more substantial problem in the industry, in the organization, or even a bigger, substantial opportunity that they may not realize that's sat there staring them in the face. So let me give you a random example here. Let's say a prospect is looking for a project management tool as their accounting department can never hit their deadlines, but you're selling an accounting automation program. Well, you might reframe the problem that they have as a software problem that you can solve rather than a time management problem that they think that they have. This ability to reframe problems and actually solve them for your prospects becomes incredibly important when people are just going to stop taking your calls. You're going to get less replies to your emails. You're going to have to think creatively about how you can help the marketplace when people are, again, battening down the hatches, when people are getting tight-fisted with their budgets. The next step is called rational drowning. This is where you present the data that builds the case for why your prospect should consider what you've reframed for them. How much have other companies that you've worked with increased their efficiency with your product? What is the ROI of working with you? How have you helped other people in the marketplace that your prospect know, likes, and trusts so that they can relate what they've done onto themselves? The goal is to make the prospect uncomfortable with their current approach via logic, via ration, and leave them with this feeling that if they don't take action and working with you, they're just slowly treading water, and eventually, as the economy gets worse and worse, they might even drown in this mess that they find themselves in. This gets them more open and approachable to a new solution. Next is emotional impact, and this step is about connecting the prospect's emotions with the problem that they are facing. And storytelling is a fantastic way to do this. And in Selling Made Simple Academy, which you can find over at salesman.org, or you can click the link below this video, we've got a whole framework dedicated specifically to storytelling. It is so important for the modern B2B salesperson to be able to tie their emotions of the prospect with their product or service and the solutions that they can provide. And I'll include a video that we've covered this storytelling framework in more detail in the description below this. So now that you've connected with the buyer emotionally, it's time to show them a new way of doing business. We're going to talk about the capabilities that your customer needs to implement, to improve upon, to just have to solve the problem in this new reframed way. Here we're selling the prospect on the solution that we provide. We do this thing in this new, exciting, unique way that you didn't realize was an option 10 minutes before we connected. And they have to accept our solution is the answer to their problem before we can move on to the final step here, which is where we're going to proactively demonstrate our solution. This might be a product demo if it's a software product, or for me, medical device sales, it would be wheeling in the camera system that we'd be selling to the prospect. And if you get to this point of the 6-step process, if you're doing a demo, or if you're selling consulting, it might be you sat in the room with the team virtually or in person. The rest of the process is a breeze. If you get to this point during a recession sales cycle, they wouldn't give you the time of day if they didn't think that there was a real opportunity here for them to improve their offering, improve their service, their efficiency, whatever you are providing to them with your product or service. So there you have it. That is the 6-step pushback method for selling during a recession. Now, there is one other thing that you can do to maximize your selling success during a recession, and that is what we call taking control. Because everyone's priorities are going to be scattered during this recession. And as a side note, we've also got to remember that recessions don't last forever, right? It could be 12 months, it could be 18 months, it could be 6 weeks. We don't know how quick the market bounces back after this one, because there's just so many weird things that's happened in the market over the past couple of years. Global pandemics, war in Europe, who knows how fast this recession will bounce back. But it's fair to say everyone's priorities are going to be scattered over this time. And that means that, well, people are going to not want to really commit to anything because they're going to feel like it's one disaster after another disaster, and they don't want to lose their job, and they don't want to make big decisions. And we've got to appreciate this, and we've got to have emotional intelligence of the fact that all of this is going to be happening in the background. With that all said, though, if you don't learn how to take control of the sales process and handhold your prospect through it, well, you're going to be forgotten about. The next issue that comes along is going to take your buyer's attention, and you're just going to have all this stagnant deal flow in your pipeline, in your CRM, and your sales manager is going to be pestering you to see what's going on and why things aren't moving forward. So let me give you an example. Let's say your prospect brings up the all too common objection of price. They tell you, hey, I like what you're doing, but times are tough and budgets are tight. Can you offer a 10% discount here? Well, of course, we've all heard this before, but during a recession, you're going to hear this every single time you get to this point in the sales process. Now, one way to deal with this is to just give in to the conversation, indulge the prospect, talk to the manager and see if you can get a discount that works out on your end. But the Challenger sales research found that the type of rep who thrives during a recession is the one that stands firm and pushes back on the prospect appropriately. We're not bullying people or being weird here. The people who have success push back a little bit, and they are the ones that then guide the prospect through the conversation, past the discount territory. They don't give in so easily. They refocus the conversation on the value of the offering, take it away from price, and prospects do deals with these individuals during a recession far, far more often than these weak, unassertive salespeople who rely on relationships. Because when you take control of a conversation, you're in a way better position to teach your prospects about the problem, educate them on the value of your product, and of course, eventually get the deal done. So, during a recession, even though this might seem counterintuitive, stand firm. No matter how tempted you are to give in just to get some cash on the books and get a couple of deals in because your manager's pestering you, right? Stand firm throughout the recession and be assertive. Guide your prospect, educate them, and you're going to come out the other end of it in a much better position than all of your contemporaries. So there we have it, how to sell during a recession. And if you enjoyed this video, why not click the video that's on the screen right now and continue making selling simple.